Coming up, U.S. Tzu Chi volunteers hold an aid distribution to help fire survivors in Mount Vernon, Washington. In Taiwan, we see how watching DaAi TV has transformed one meat-eating bachelor into a vegetarian. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. In the United States, on July 1st, a massive apartment fire broke out in Mount Vernon, Washington, leaving 5 injured and 200 residents displaced. Upon learning of the news on July 14th, Seattle Tzu Chi volunteers traveled to the college stadium where the fire survivors are sheltered to distribute blankets and consolation cash.
With the Red Cross assistance, the fire survivors are taking shelter in a local college stadium. 30 Tzu Chi volunteers from Seattle arrived at the shelter to distribute blankets and consolation cash. The apartment complex that caught fire was mostly occupied by Latinos. During the aid distribution, one survivor volunteered to help translate.
49 years ago, Tzu Chi had only 30 volunteers, and now you can find volunteers in all corners of the world.
Children also help bridge the language barrier between the volunteers and the victims. Seeing the infants who are affected by the fire, Tzu Chi volunteers extend a loving hug which comforts them and their parents.
Wish you getting better, okay?
While waiting for one-on-one interviews, the volunteers introduced Tzu Chi Sign Language to the victims, which is well received, as several fire survivors join in the volunteers' movements.
Let us pray for peace in our land. Keep our hearts from sorrows and pain. Bless us all with joy.
Everything you guys have done, it's going to help a lot. Hopefully that'll help us get into this place that we're going to be looking at in a couple days. So,
and we do hope you have lucky and get the job soon. Okay?
Yes, I can feel your guys' positive energy.
Thank you.
In the aftermath of Cyclone Nargis in 2008, Tzu Chi volunteers began a long-term recovery project in Myanmar by building 12 schools in Da Nang Township. Furthermore, upon learning that many children have been forced to give up their education because they don't have the money to purchase school uniforms, Tzu Chi volunteers have stepped in to help. Touched by the volunteers' dedication, a garment factory owner decided to supply the uniforms and only charge for the cost of the fabric.
Students come to school 5 days a week, and most of them only have 2 to 3 uniforms to change into. Teachers have decided to donate their children's extra uniforms or those no longer needed by other students to these underprivileged students.
According to many teachers, many children living in the remote areas have to give up their education because they have no means to purchase uniforms. To give needy children a chance at an education, Myanmar Tzu Chi volunteers decided to reach out with a helping hand. The volunteers first traveled to a garment factory to design quality uniforms.
The sizes of the uniform from grade 1 to grade 4 will be different. That's why we are here at the garment factory. We want to check the fabric quality and sizes.
After a thorough examination, Tzu Chi volunteers decided to use fabrics that are comfortable and easy to wash. Their thoughtfulness deeply touched the heart of the factory owner.
I know that the volunteers are doing good deeds. They will be giving these uniforms to needy students. I decided to only charge for the cost of fabric.
The large-scale uniform distribution plans to help a total of 4,650 teachers and students of 12 different schools. Besides new uniforms and backpacks, stationery will also be handed out.
The students are extremely happy today. They have received a new uniform, backpack, and stationery.
With a new uniform in hand, these children can finally pursue their education free from worries.
Tzu Chi volunteer Ouyang Liangqi from Malaysia's Klang branch has walked the Tzu Chi path for the last decade, but it has not been a smooth journey, from a car accident to work scheduling conflicts to even skin cancer. Events in his life seem to continue to test the man's dedication to Tzu Chi. Despite everything, however, he never faltered from his initial aspirations, but instead has counted his blessings at being able to wear the Tzu Chi uniform. Out on a bright sunny day, Ouyang Liangqi joins other volunteers on a home visitation. Looking healthy, it's hard to imagine he just had a major surgery a month ago.
He's not like other sick patients. Before, when he just came out of surgery, he was all smiles and didn't look sick. Maybe it's because he has done a lot of Tzu Chi.
Ouyang met Tzu Chi in 2004 and soon after began participating in various organizational events. In 2007, he was ready to take on more responsibility on behalf of Tzu Chi when,
on July 15th, I was put in charge of surveying recycling points. Then on July 19th, I had an accident, so then I was unable to do that job for about 2 years.
The car accident may have broken his legs, but it did not break his spirit. In the aftermath of the accident, Ouyang remained steadfast on the Tzu Chi path, even if his mobility was reduced.
When I was hit, I only thought that I haven't done enough yet.
After Ouyang recovered from his accident, he was still unable to participate in Tzu Chi events due to his work schedule.
The job I found was a graveyard shift, and I couldn't join in any events besides recycling days. When I did go to do recycling, it would be after work, and I wouldn't have gotten any sleep.
Later, he switched to a new job and was finally able to participate in Tzu Chi events. However, earlier this year, he found out he had skin cancer.
When these things happen to us, it is an opportunity for us to atone for our sins. If you willingly accept them, you might get a 20% discount in pain. If not, the suffering might be double.
The ailment has made Ouyang treasure every chance he has to give.
Without me, Tzu Chi will be fine because there are other volunteers, but I am lost without Tzu Chi. Life is impermanent. The more opportunities I get to wear the blue volunteer uniform, the more I'm a winner.
Next in Taiwan, we meet Taichung Tzu Chi volunteer Dong Jiande, who is a general manager of a restaurant chain. A bachelor with a lavish lifestyle, Dong has eaten delicacies of every kind. However, 3 years ago, upon seeing Tzu Chi's musical adaptation of the Water Repentance Sutra broadcast on DaAi TV, Dong felt deep remorse for eating meat to satisfy his palate. Since then, the man has adopted a vegetarian diet and devotes much of his time to Tzu Chi.
As the general manager of a restaurant chain, Dong Jiande often encounters challenges that give rise to afflictions. He will then tune into DaAi TV from his cell phone to draw spiritual sustenance.
When afflictions arise, we are easily confronted with problems that lead to karmic events. I constantly tune into DaAi TV to watch the Master's teachings. It helps me gain inner peace.
Dong says his affinity with Tzu Chi began through DaAi TV, with Tzu Chi's musical adaptation of the Water Repentance Sutra broadcast on DaAi TV in 2011, striking a chord in his heart.
I was struck by how the Dharma was translated through the brothers and sisters' performance. In that moment, I couldn't hold back my tears. I just broke down.
Seeing how animals were brutally slaughtered for food, Dong decided to give up meat and adopted a vegetarian diet. At the same time, he was determined to bring Tzu Chi's humanitarianism into his workplace. On Mother's Day, Dong encourages his staff members to serve their mother's tea while reminding them to cultivate a grateful heart. He also created opportunities for his employees to practice charitable giving. In this tug-of-war race, the winning team has to donate rice to help disadvantaged families.
When a seed of compassion is planted in every employee's heart, it creates a cycle of goodness within the organization itself.
In his book, Dong cited many of Master Cheng Yin's teachings and further donated the proceeds from the sale of his book to Tzu Chi.
感恩。Thank you. Thank you so much for this kind gesture.
也很贴心，也很
He's always so considerate and filial. He is a really great kid.
感觉他这个孩子真的很好。
Over the years, Dong has incorporated the concept of filial piety into his workplace and is often seen volunteering at Tzu Chi Hospital or conducting home visitations. Dong says watching DaAi TV has opened his heart to love and compassion, and as a result, his life has not been the same since.
In Taiwan, as the building of the Keelung Jingsi Hall enters its final phase, Tzu Chi volunteers recently mobilized to help pave interlocking bricks and even invited community members to participate. Despite the heat, everyone was still immersed in the joy of volunteering.
Learning that the construction of the Keelung Jingsi Hall needs manpower to pave bricks, volunteer Huang Xiuyan invited community members and care recipients to help.
We hope that after the completion of the Jingsi Hall, we can learn more of Master Zheng Yan's Dharma to cultivate our humanistic spirit, making us more open-minded in our life.
Working under the 36 degrees Celsius heat, everyone is sweating buckets. However, no one complained. Septuagenarian Zhou Jingyuan believes actions speak louder than words. Youngsters who are unable to load the bricks bend their knees to pick up stones, helping the work go smoothly. Chu Youfu and his wife also brought their daughter along to help.
Sweating is good for them. It helps discharge toxins from our body.
This path is laid not only with bricks but also hearts of joy.
We hope to motivate more volunteers and community members to pave the bricks together.
The paving work is scheduled to be completed in mid-August. From now on, anyone is welcome to join in the work.
A victim of domestic abuse, Ms. Wu is now living free of fear and violence thanks to the support of Taipei's Modern Women's Foundation. She wants to share her story with other victims of abuse to encourage them to stand up against their abusers. Here's her story.
Ms. Wu, a victim of domestic violence, wants to share her story with the world.
I told my son to treat his future wife well. I said, be a good man, don't be an incapable man. I said, see, we single women are very brave. We have raised our children on our own, and that's what I did. I paid for my son's college tuition. I'm still independent and on my own now.
A foreign bride from Indonesia, Ms. Wu left her abusive husband 20 years ago. She raised her own child and is now living free of fear.
I have long wanted to file for a divorce. I wanted to do it when my son was still very young, but I just didn't know how or who to turn to.
That is the typical situation for most victims of domestic violence.
In Taiwan, female victims of domestic abuse seek help after 6.7 years on average. So from the first incident of violence, it takes a woman 6.7 years to turn to the authorities for help.
So just what happened to Ms. Wu?
It boiled down to my poor relationship with my mother-in-law. It was hard to make amends. I tell you, don't ever mess up your relationship with your mother-in-law. My mom-in-law thought she owned me. She said people where I am from are dirty and unsanitary. She was never satisfied with me.
Ms. Wu can lead a normal life now, all thanks to the Modern Women's Foundation.
For my first court appearance, the social workers from the foundation had to pressure me to go. I was so scared and was trembling, but they held my hands and told me not to worry. They were like my second parents. Without their guidance, I wouldn't have figured out how to protect myself legally.
And that's what the foundation does, to help protect victims of domestic violence.
Before the Domestic Violence Prevention Act was passed, people thought the courts should not meddle in family affairs. Now that the law is passed, however, people are beginning to think differently. As long as you are a victim, we can help you file for protection orders. Our social workers will be with you every step of the way.
The law states that victims of domestic violence may file for protection orders.
I remember it did not take long for me to get my protection order. I had no idea what it was, but it turned out to be just a piece of paper. I was overjoyed and carried it everywhere I went.
But what exactly is a protection order?
A protection order is issued by the court by a domestic affairs judge. There are actually various types of this executive order. It can be an order of eviction, minimum distance, or restraint. You can even ask for the custody of your children by filing for temporary custody of children alone with an order.
Ms. Wu wants all women of domestic violence to learn from her story.
Fellow sisters of domestic violence, please don't be afraid, but be brave and stand up against those abusing you. If I ever become someone's mother-in-law, I will never treat her the way I was treated. I will leave my daughter-in-law alone and treat her nicely. I just won't be nasty and mean. To everyone at the Modern Women's Foundation, I must thank you all. I will never forget what you have done for me.
Since 2008, Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia's Kuala Lumpur have long supported Ampang Tamil Elementary School. The school's faculty has come to understand Tzu Chi's environmental mission. Thus, when old textbooks and workbooks needed to be recycled, the faculty immediately thought of Tzu Chi volunteers. Ampang Tamil Elementary School has set aside some 2,000 old textbooks and workbooks for Tzu Chi to recycle.
The school has invited us over for this recycling event to help recycle these old textbooks. It's their way of repaying to this kindness, for we have been supporting the school for quite some time.
The bond with the school began with Tzu Chi's scholarship aid to needy students. Seizing the opportunity to reciprocate, 90 faculty and students are helping out this time.
I feel this is a good activity. Yeah, we make the students, they know how to keep the place clean, and then they also they know how to segregate.
I would like to share, I do that in the school, collecting the waste book covers and help to my friends, and they also help to me. My feeling is so happy today.
Through this hands-on experience, both students and teachers realize environmental conservation starts from each individual. Back in Taiwan, on July 16th, over 100 high school students gathered at the Banqiao Jinsi Hall to attend a summer camp hosted by Tzu Chi's. On the first day, participants learned lessons on teamwork and the importance of maintaining good home habits. Tzu Chi's hope in the days ahead, participants will also learn valuable lessons as they prepare for college.
Forming a circle, students hold hands and work together to pass a circle of rope around. This game not only tests patience, but smarts. Arms linked and with their backs to each other, two students try to stand up. After succeeding with 2 people, 3 people tried to increase the difficulty.
It's more difficult with 3 people. They said to keep pushing back against each other, trust in one another, and then finally we were able to stand up.
Just like in life, many times it takes 2 people to complete a task.
A play about an unmade bed demonstrates the bad habits many young people may have. Through the Tzu Chi's high school summer camp, students learn how to fold blankets and adjust their daily habits.
It feels good to walk into an organized and clean room.
We hope the young people of today can be reminded to take care of their hygiene and cleanliness and to put into practice these good habits in their daily lives.
This 4-day summer camp is working and succeeding in giving over 100 high school students from Taiwan's northern districts a preparation course for their college days ahead.
Also in Banqiao, Tzu Chi volunteers held the Buddhist summer camp for children at the Tzu Chi Banqiao grounds. Through the camp, children have learned about Tzu Chi's etiquette and the importance to protect all living beings.
Children attending the Tzu Chi Buddhist summer camp don't find the video clip of a novice monk playing a prank of a frog amusing.
If I see someone tying down a frog like the novice monk, I will persuade him or her not to do it. Why? Because that's no different than killing a life.
If the animal dies, its parents will be extremely sad.
The camp is held at the Tzu Chi Banqiao grounds. Without their parents by their side, trainees have to do everything by themselves. This is Chen Yiwei, who has been washing his own dishes since kindergarten.
My mother told me that I have to finish my chores before I start on my homework. After I finish my homework, then I can play.
His temper and habits have improved after attending the summer camp.
Through attending the camp, children have learned that doing good deeds and fulfilling filial duties cannot wait, making their summer vacation very meaningful.
Moving to Taoyuan, Tzu Chi media volunteers recently organized a biennial training seminar in order to help hone their writing and filming skills, as well as to recruit more like-minded people to join their ranks. This year's seminar ran from May to July, finishing with a graduation ceremony to celebrate the participants' achievements.
As the chroniclers of Tzu Chi's history, media volunteers shoulder the responsibility of reporting truth, goodness, and beauty. At this biennial media volunteer training seminar, experienced instructors were invited to share their ideas with participants.
We hope this seminar can inspire more community members and volunteers to join the media volunteers' ranks and chronicle more of Tzu Chi stories.
Capturing moments of compassion is what media volunteers do best. Chen Minghe, who lives in Taipei, sees the chance to attend the seminar as he regularly visits his mother-in-law in Taoyuan during the holidays.
There are fewer media volunteers in Taoyuan Spada. Therefore, it is as Master Zheng Yan said, we volunteers have to take on the hard work that no one else wants to do.
Retired soldier Li Wanxiang followed in his children's footsteps to join Tzu Chi and attended this year's seminar with his two daughters.
I hope they can absorb the positive energy of Tzu Chi. The older one attended a photography class before, and I expect that she will become a young media volunteer.
After the class, I came to realize how much effort media volunteers have to put into their work. When everyone is resting, they're still working. If one footage is needed for tomorrow's ceremony, they may stay up all night to edit the film. This touches me the most.
Through the participants' determination, Tzu Chi's media work will continue to prosper, helping more of Tzu Chi's stories to be chronicled for generations to come.
We go to Hong Kong at the end of today's show and join Tzu Chi volunteers at the 25th Hong Kong Book Fair. This year, volunteers performed Tzu Chi's tea ceremony as well as sign language songs to inspire fairgoers to stop at their booth. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. See you next time.